we're going to be using AI to figure out if stacking in fantasy football is actually good or if it's worth it. Um, this should be interesting. We're going to be using Code Interpreter to analyze data and to figure out if, once and for all, if stacking actually helps you in your redraft season long leagues. All right, so this is a little bit of a what would you call it? A a weird video. This is kind of out of the norm for a fantasy football video, but without further ado, we're gonna get into it. All right, so the very first thing I'll do is I'll show you. You know, I hope you can see my screen here. So we're gonna go to ChatGPT. We're gonna pull that up. We need. We'll go to Code Interpreter. And can we close this out? Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Bet. All right. So now we're gonna go to fantasy data or fantasy points. And if you haven't heard about this is I just leaked my email that I made when I was a little kid. But yeah, so this is one of the best resources for fantasy data at this point. It's incredible. I'm not gonna do a whole breakdown into what it is, but for $50, this 1 year for $50, you can have access to so much data, so much filtering. It's a very cool tool. So check it out if you want. They also have the basic stats are free. They're not charging for those, but like there's so much filterability that even using the basic stats, you would, you know, be it would help you a lot. All right. So, in order to start this off, we're going to have to download some of the data, okay? And so we're going to use 2022 data. We're going to see if we could just figure, hopefully 2022 data is enough. And we're going to figure out, okay, is stacking worth it? It's so funny how this site is taking forever to load now all of a sudden. That's great. Let's try refreshing it. Looks like it loaded a little bit more. So we're gonna first start by combining the data sources. And this is something that, okay, this is kind of embarrassing. The website will not load. So that's great. I don't know if, there's something going on right now or what the deal is. This is bizarre. I've never had this issue. Okay, let's try it again. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Oh God, this is not okay. Does it know that I'm recording? Is it kind of like blocking it from working? I don't know. Because it was fine earlier in fantasy. Wow, this is putting a wrench in my plans here because I was gonna just use the data from there. Even the basic stuff. It's should be working, correct? Uh, let's try doing a different one. Like let's try this. Will it work? Oh my God. I don't know if this is me or if it's the website. This is very bad. This is rough. I could figure out how to pull the data, but I was banking on just using this, right? Because this is something that's easily accessible for people. It's just not working. Is it down right now? I'm not sure. It must be down right now or something because this is just not working. I granted I've never tried to use this while streaming or while recording a video, but damn, this is like nothing's loading. Okay. Well, we'll come back in here. I'll try it again. I'll stop recording, try it again. If it still doesn't work, I don't know. I really don't know at this point. This is crazy. All right. BRB. Okay. So I've got it loaded up here. I don't know why it was not working before. And I wonder if I tried to go to a different one, if it would load. I'm not sure. I did download the data that would be necessary. And so just, you know. Oh, but I'm not sure if in the receiving export it had running back selected. Oh, there we go. It's loading. It's just taking a long time here. I guess maybe it's my computer. But yeah, so I just included running backs in this data. And now in rushing, I don't know if it included quarterbacks in the original rushing export. But yeah, I think hopefully this works. Damn, now it's not loading again. All right, so we're just gonna make do with what we have. Sorry about that. It has some recorded things. So we're gonna input the rushing, passing, and receiving export. Not this one. I'll delete this one. This one doesn't have running backs in the data. Oh, okay. So we have the rushing here. Does it include quarterbacks? No, it does not. So we'll re-download this. Okay, cool. So now we'll delete the okay, the rushing export's here. Cool. So we'll delete this one. It's unnecessary. Okay, so now we have rushing, passing, and receiving, and they all should include all of the positions that are necessary. And so the next thing that we probably would like to include, and I don't know if if this is even going to be used, but we'll insert some redraft values before the season started last year. So this is ADP. We want to see it historically, correct? So we're gonna just take it and we're gonna go to something called the Wayback Machine. Take this and plug it into the Wayback Machine. And this is how we're going to get our 2022 redraft ADP to feed into this. Because obviously, to figure out if stacking matters, you're going to have to put some context into it. The season started early September, so I think the closest snapshot we have of 2022 ADP is August 31st. That I don't know if we want to use August 31st ADP or if we want to do something where we use a different source. But I like Fantasy Pros because they aggregate a bunch of things in, so it's a consensus of where the market is. I think we could even get away with doing PPR rankings, and there's potential for the Wayback Machine to have a snapshot of 2022 um, Fantasy Pros rankings before the season starts. Okay, now I believe the 2022 NFL season started on September 7th or something along those lines. So September 6th should be a good starting point. And so we'll essentially copy and paste these values. Got it. If they all just load up real quick, we'll I think Control A would just work the best. I know we're gonna just copy everything, but we can clean it up later. And so we're gonna pull up a Google Sheet. And now the Google Sheet is going to be simply just to clean the data that we're copying, and then we're gonna download it. So I think we have just too much stuff going on here, so close this out. We have a Google Sheet here, and even the Google Sheet is having trouble loading, so we'll close out this also. Hopefully that helps. And it turns out when we went to the Wayback Machine, it did not work. Like when I hit Control C, it did not copy it. So we're gonna go back to the Wayback Machine. We're gonna try to sort this out here. And I believe I pulled this already, but for tutorial's sake, I wanted to share that how to I guess get this data ready, because a lot of data analysis stuff is cleaning up data. All as boring as it is, as annoying as it is, you know, these are the type of things that you have to do. And so I want this to finish loading, and then we can just copy and paste all of it. It's funny, Jonathan Taylor being number 1, he was a complete bust last year, and Tyreek Hill looks like was a little low. But yeah, so we're just gonna copy it down to whatever's on this first page here. Probably not going to get guys outside of the top 200 or so, I would say. Yes, I don't know exactly when this ends. It might be 300. We're gonna remove defensives and kickers because they're super random and there's no point in really studying them, I think. So yeah, we're just gonna take whatever's on this page. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of players here, which is good. You know, we want to make sure that we're capturing as many as possible. All right. Let's see. Doesn't look like we have much longer before we are done with this. Okay, so 555 separate players. And so I hit Command C, and hopefully it did copy this time. And so yeah, hopefully this can copy and work. There we go. Okay, cool. So right off the bat, looking at this data, we're going to delete the strength of schedule. Don't care about that. And then we're going to go through here and filter out any of the tiers. Those to us are not important. So filter by condition, text contains tier. Okay, and then this, we can just delete all of these. Double click here, delete selected rows. Now we have a full sheet. Now, what if we want to separate this name out? This column has nothing in it. What if we want to separate out this position, and we don't want it to have RB1 here, we just want it to say RB? Then you use something called the split function, and then you simply go, oh, and then 2. Or no, I believe it's left, comma 2. Yeah, there we go. And so it just takes the first 2 sections, or the first 2 letters from it. And as you know, every position in fantasy, or at least the ones where we care about here, are the first 2 letters. And so we're gonna actually filter out any kickers and defenses now. So if the text contains kicker, we're gonna delete all of them. And now we're gonna do if they contain a defense, which I believe it's yes. Okay. We'll delete all the defenses. Now, here we go. This is our ADP. We have the position here. We'll do position rank here. And we could actually do something and turn this into ADP data using this column. And so we would simply just go this plus this. Right, so ADP actually had Jonathan Taylor as number 1 ECR position rank. So this would be the ADP rank. And actually, if we want to do, yeah, I think ADP rank is fine, and we could even resort it by ADP. And there we go. This is coming together. There's gonna be some gaps though where we deleted the kickers and defenses, but I don't think that'll cause any issues for us. Do something like this, and we want to get rid of the fact that's just player name. Like we wanted to say the player name and then have position, or have the team in a separate column. So we're gonna ask ChatGPT, okay, how do we do this? All right, so we'll go to GPT 3.5. That's all that's necessary. How do I split these into 2 separate cells in Google Sheets? Or what function? Do I use and then split? I should have said formula. What formula? And that should give it to me. Okay. So this is assuming that the name is in cell A1, but it is in C1 or C2. So we'll change this with C2, and there's a reference error, and I guess it split it into first and last name. Okay, that's not what we wanted. So what if we use this one? Let's see. If this doesn't work, then we will, okay, here's what we'll do. No, we want the name to be in the full name in one cell, and the team abbreviation in another. Okay, this looks like it's better, so we'll put this here, and we'll just replace the A1 with C2, and boom, there are all the names, and we don't need this column anymore. The next one should just extract the team that they play for. Here, we're just gonna copy C2, and then we're gonna paste it in each individual thing. Cool, Indianapolis. So we've got the team abbreviation, and we'll populate it down. So call this team abbreviation player name and abbreviation. So it knows what is what. Team abbreviation. Cool. Okay. So we have this completely set up, and now we just have to download this Fantasy Pros ADP 2022. Cool. File. This is just OCD kind of thing. Okay. Export. Or no, before we export it, we want this to say ECR rank. And I believe ChatGPT will know what ECR rank means. So, yeah, okay. So now we can export this. It's an Excel file. Boom. All right, so now let's start a new chat. Or we'll keep this one open. We'll just go and open up a new one here in a new tab. And so now we're going to go to GPT, code interpreter, and we're going to actually upload just the passing. And I believe we can upload all of these kind of at once and tell it to merge the data sets. Merge this fantasy football data into one data set and give me a preview of the table header. All right, fingers crossed. I've never actually done this before, and I am now realizing that I did not split the data by week, which is a very important part of the stacking analysis. But we're just gonna go ahead and see if this can work, and if we can figure out the benefits of stacking without having weekly data. Okay, so here I believe we have the header here. Looks pretty good. I hope it's okay. Whenever there is a duplicate name, for example, with touchdowns, based on what data set it is from, change the title to be passing do this wherever necessary. Okay. This is just going to see how in the this section here says touchdown 1. That's fine, but it's not telling you what type of touchdown it is, if it's passing, rushing, receiving. And so I told it that whenever there's a duplicate of the name of a stat called touchdown, right? Whenever there's a duplicate, adjust it by which I've renamed the columns to differential. Now, wherever there was a duplicate name based on the dataset, the titles have been changed. And it looks like it also did it for receiving. Cool. And now I think this is where I'll import the Fantasy Pros ADP. Now, this 2022 Fantasy Pros ADP data with the data frame. Let's see. I'm curious. I'm curious if this actually works. Yes, as a player name column. So it's using the players' names to merge the data sets into one. Now I'm curious, are there any names that are not in both the fantasy points data set and the Fantasy Pros data set? I'm curious because someone like AJ Dillon might have A period J period Dillon, and then he might have that in one set, and the other one it would just be A J Dillon without the periods. Yes, and see, this is exactly what I mean. The juniors and the seconds are now not able to be matched like Patrick Mahomes. Yes, address the discrepancies. I don't know how to spell discrepancies. I think I spelled it right. Cool. All right. And so now it's merging them together. And so this is very cool, by the way. It seems the third at the end of their name, and it was not removed. It was not fixed correctly. All right. So we're just gonna kind of go back and forth, trying to make it so that all the names can sync up. This is a process that normally you would have to do manually, and it would take a long time, right? Because I don't know if there's any sort of library or anything in Python that could do this for you, but doing it in Excel, you'd have to do it manually, and so this is something that's super helpful. So it looks like there are some more discrepancies. Show me the most. How many player names have discrepancies that are most likely to be important in the data set based on either their high rank in the Fantasy Pros ADP or their high fantasy point production. Oh, I even said a high ADP, which I really meant a low ADP, right? Because ADP of 1 is high, or technically low. So I'm curious because it gives, if it spits back players that are obviously good, then we probably want to still include them. We probably want to figure it out. But if it includes players that are all bad and I don't care about, then we can just remove them from the data set and continue with the analysis. So this is a step that I had skipped in the Google Sheet, and now it is becoming an issue here. Essentially, you'd want to just go back to this, and then you'd want to put parentheses around this, and then multiply it by 1, I believe. And so that makes, it tells Google Sheets that it's a number. It's a little trick that I learned. It's kind of stupid. It's BS, but whatever. Only one important player, DJ Moore, is present in the Fantasy Pros dataset, but missing from the Fantasy Points dataset. Okay, DJ Moore is often also spelt D.J.Moore. I hope that it didn't do this for all of the guys with the abbreviation, like DK Metcalf or AJ Dillon. Similarly, okay, cool. Yes. Using, well, actually, first, give me a CSV export of the data frame. Cool. And then also using this data that is now cleaned, create a realistic simulation of a 12-man PPR fantasy football draft using the ADP. I'm curious if this can even work. I have no idea. I've no idea at all if this will work. I first wanted to get the data so I don't have to do this cleaning process again. If anything were to go wrong. There's no defense and kicker, so that's going to be an issue. But it's interesting how it understood what the baseline settings are usually. So we're going to download this while this is working here, and we're going to actually take a look at it. I'm curious if it did a good job or not. Holy Alright, it's got no receiving for the quarterbacks, but then it's got them, it's got the name here again and their ADP. Interesting. Very interesting. It looks like it completely worked. The only issue is, though, I think the rushing for the quarterbacks did not get merged correctly. Like 100%. There's no way. There's no way this worked. Because so these are receivers, and it doesn't have their position here, but it probably has it over here. Okay, yeah, it's kind of a mess. But it did the job, and I think it'll be able to navigate through the data. This is kind of funny. So what is this? These are rushing, I'm guessing, numbers. Oh, I don't know what it did here. Let's hope it. I'm hoping that it worked. Oh, great. All right, so it seems like it ran into an issue. No, this is gonna be very cool. JT. Oh, okay. So I got to clip into this. So this is how it went. JT, McCaffrey, Eckler, Kupp, Henry. I wonder if this is just exactly the same as ADP. I hope it's not. Kind of is, I think. Didn't simulate anything. It's just. Wait, hold on. Nick Chubb went. When did he go? Oh, it didn't snake. First of all, second of all, do a snake draft simulation. Some reasonable variation between ADP and the simulation. Just because, like, people don't draft strictly off of ADP, so if you inject some randomness into it, I think you'll get some better results here. It's great. This is honestly bizarre how far I've been able to take this so far. And so yeah, this is an awesome. And so the next step would be probably to see if stacking matters. I know it's been somewhat of a long journey so far, But I think this stuff is so cool, so fascinating. Um, let's see what it came up with. Team 12 picked Debo. I guess that's somewhat realistic. Um, I'm curious to see. With some variation. I don't want it to be too much variation, so let's see. McCaffrey, Eckler, Cup, Najee. So how much variation did it get? So it took Najee up there. That's not that bad. I think this is fine. As long as there isn't any crazy reaches. Okay, it only did it through the first 5 rounds. Okay. Now do this for how many rounds with 6 bench spots and okay. Now do the simulation again, but this time do it for the amount of rounds required to fill this team. Fill the teams up all the way. So it'd be one QB, 2 running backs. We're gonna do 3 receivers. I don't know what the standard really is, but flex, 1 flex, and then 6 bench. All right, that should be good enough. I think that's a pretty standard league. And yeah. Also, after. Alright. I'm not going to give it any more instruction. I'm just going to tell it to simulate through that and make sure that everything's all good. This is actually really cool because this is essentially creating an auto draft function within ChatGPT, which is absolutely insane. At some point, I do want to create some sort of website, a fantasy football website. That would be awesome. I I just don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna do it at some point in my life. I think if AI is really this good, I'm gonna figure it out, you know. So so it's running one simulation. Um, there's an error. Okay, interesting. So it found out that there's no players available left that filled positional needs, and so it's telling it to disregard positional needs if there's no players left. Okay. I hope that there's a thing in place where, like, I hope quarterbacks are all accounted for here. But yeah, if so, in order to find if stacking is the most valuable thing, this is kind of what you have to do. And then I'm gonna ask it once it's done simulating. I'll try to ask it to simulate for as many times as possible and figure out what the optimal draft would have been last year. And then once I do that, then look into stacking afterwards. This is the plan here. Okay, it's running into problems, it's fixing them itself. Pretty damn cool, if you ask me. If we don't even figure out if stacking works, like this is already very cool to me, honestly. Yeah, so I set my phone, this is completely unrelated, but I set my phone to do not disturb, and it won't shut up. Even when I put on do not disturb, it's still giving me notifications, and I've literally watched like 10 YouTube videos on how to fix it, and they're all like, "Oh, just go to the settings and change this," and I'm like, "Okay, there's nothing I have to change in the settings because it's already turned off. Like I'm not supposed to be getting any notifications, but I still get them every time, even on do not disturb. It makes no sense at all. But yeah, so this is taking a little bit to load up here. Finished. Okay, let's see what the results are. Oh, it only did the first 5 rounds. Great. Okay, cool. Now I would like to have it so it doesn't prioritize starting positions. Maybe only a 60% prioritization. I'll give it like a 65% prioritization of filling the starting roster. All right. No argument there. Because honestly, it might even be closer to 50-50, but I'm just doing this for ease, where most teams, you shouldn't probably, like, you shouldn't try to just fill your starting roster. That's doesn't make any sense. That's under the assumption that every pick that you make is a hit, which is just wrong. That's impossible to be the case. You're going to be wrong. Some of your picks are not going to be right, and so trying to just fill out your lineup, your starting lineup with the draft right off the bat, it's just so dumb. It's probably one of the dumbest things you can do, because especially if you're like missing out on value at a position that you already have. Like if you have a loaded receiver group and you feel like, oh, I have to grab a running back, but the running backs on the board aren't really good values, then you should probably still be taking receivers, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, it went and ran the simulation. I don't know how many simulations you'd run to find the optimal team. I think I would just say, okay, the idea would be just, okay, now run as many simulations going through the full draft, filling each team completely. And then figure out which team, what the optimal draft would have been. What the optimal draft would have then obviously not going overboard, sticking to ADP value for the most part, with the slight variation. All right, let's see. So it's running multiple full draft simulations. I think if it was gonna start to crash, it might start to crash here at any moment. Um, yeah, this is a big task. So the following thing, I guess, the follow up question after this one. Hopefully, there's no errors or issues with this. The following question would finally be getting to does stacking matter? That's kind of where we're headed, right? Um, okay, there's an error. Ooh. So as you can see, you could spend so much time on ChatGPT trying to get things set up. Um, it's it is a long haul trying to get things to work. Okay, found the optimal draft. Um, it didn't tell me which what the optimal draft was. All right, which team got the most points? I'm assuming that you make good start sit decisions. Um, what was the optimal draft by round, and how many points did they score? Did each player did each player score? How many points did they score broken up by player? Did they score broken up by player? Curious. Oh, this is exhausting. But yeah, this, as you can see, I'm losing some stamina here. Back's hurting a little bit, you know. Um, so the funny thing about it is it continually makes mistakes, but then it also tries to fix them right after. So it's it's interesting. I guess as the AI gets better, it's gonna stop making these mistakes as often. Um, okay. Optimal draft by round. This table shows the players selected in each round by each team. Okay. No, I'm saying like what was the optimal, the single most optimal draft possible team possibly made in the draft. Possibly made in the draft. I don't know. My F key's broken. Please work. Please work. See, doing this kind of thing is exhausting. And so it's very cool, but it's so much. It's like there's a person on the other end of the line essentially that never gets tired, and it just spews out info. No, I mean using actual fantasy points they scored, not projected, which obviously doesn't exist, right? That was not in the data. And you know what, this could be wrong too, so fair warning. Yes, use the fantasy points column. God. See, this is where it gets to be a little bit troublesome, where it doesn't fully know what the hell it's doing. Great, Jamar Chase has no fantasy points. Cool. I don't understand how he has no fantasy points somehow. How can you say that this is the optimal draft when there's guys with legit no fantasy points values in here? Oh God, pain. So much pain. Okay. There should be no players with NAN for fantasy points. They all should have that in the data. You're correct. I know I'm correct. Oh. I know I'm correct, bro. What are you telling me I'm correct for? They do, though. Oh my God. They obviously scored fantasy points in 2022. They're in the data. Oh my God. They didn't link up correctly. Fix the error at the data set. I should have known that there was an issue when the exported CSV had problems. The exported CSV looked insanely crazy. Like it was just completely like it was not neat at all. Um, Bro, no, I don't want to give them the average fantasy points. I don't want to assign them the minimum value. I want to give them the fantasy points from the data. Like, bro, what are you doing? This is an issue. If it doesn't even come close to working soon, I'm gonna just end it, just for my lack of patience. Oh god, this was just an epic fail. I guess AI is not ready to help you with fantasy analysis, you know? Why? Why do they have NA values? Make it make sense. It didn't merge correctly, I think, is the case. Mm. What do you mean it's what the initial data provided? They are in there. They're in there, bro. I know they are. I know they are. Let me give you the data provided. Receiving, passing, and the rushing. Dumbass. Bro, honestly. Fix it, bro. Fix it. I need to step away, I think. Might have to finish this up tomorrow. It's like so frustrating. And you know what the funny thing is? Is this is probably such a simple task. It's probably such a simple task for, people that know how to code and know how to do all this stuff. I've literally tried to teach myself, and it's just like something in my brain just cannot learn it. I don't know why. I just struggled so much. I want to learn it. I really do. I don't want to learn it actually. I don't. I just want the results. That's what the issue is. I want to get the results of knowing how to do it, but I don't want to know how to do it. I have little to no interest in knowing how to do all the coding stuff. But I want to have the results of doing the coding stuff. So, you see my dilemma here. Bro, when this is done, I'm gonna be done with this. All right, all right. Huh. Oh, bro, how is Justin Herbert still have an NAN value? He's literally got data in the passing data set. Idiot. Pain. I should have made sure that the data was fine first. I should have made sure. I should have made sure. I should have made sure the data was fine before I tried to do all of this. It's just a mess. Complete mess. God. My brain. My brain's dead. I need to go. It's oh, funnily enough, Deontay Johnson. No. Bye. I'll try again some other day. Hope your day sucks. Alright. Well, that's all, folks. Sorry. I'm so sorry for this pain.